All right, so fractions. Percentages, I should say. We're doing percentages. Percentage literally meaning something out of 100. We've already done a little bit about this, converting fractions into percentages. I'm going to remind you, I guess, of two ways that you can do this. So if you have a fairly simple, straightforward fraction, like, say, if you want to convert this into a percentage, one of the ways you can do this is make an equivalent fraction that has 100 as the denominator. Percentage literally being a number out of 100. So if you want to do this one, you need to look at what have you done to this denominator here to turn it into 100? What did we do, Isaiah?
Times by 25.
We times by 25, and the rule with fractions is whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. 1 times 25 is 25, so this one is equal to 25 out of 100, which we know is the same as saying 25%. Those ones work really well if you have a really nice, neat fraction. Quarter is considered a neat fraction because 4 goes so nicely into 100. But what if you had something like 3/13? That's an ugly fraction. That's not nice. The easiest way to do this, generally speaking, whenever you have a fraction, is take the fraction that you're given, times it by 100. Is the easiest way to do this. Still, it's not a very nice way to do this. I mean, like it's not easy to do mentally. You probably need a calculator to do it. So what you need to do is pick up your calculator, work out 3, maybe divide it by 13 might be the easiest way to do it.
So my calculator doesn't say the right answers. It comes up with a fraction when I try to divide it.
Oh,
That's not always bad.
FD button.
So for me, when I do 3 over 13 times by 100, my calculator tells me that this is 23.0, I'll round that off to 2 decimal places, 0.08%. Okie dokie. I don't have one of your calculators here in front of me, but some of you also have the calculator that has the SD or FD button. Or so yeah, that's right. So sometimes that can help you get a bit closer to the answer as well. All right, so we're going to go. Any questions on fractions to percentages? Easy. All right, let's talk about decimals to percentages. Think of decimals. Decimals are usually, we talk about them as being out of 1. So if I talk about the number 1, that is equal to 100%. So if I say 0.4, how do I convert that into percentage? Yeah.
That's 40%.
It is 40%, yeah.
I don't know how times it by 10. Just know that.
You just know that.
Because it's, yeah.
There's a couple of ways you can think about this. Think about the place value of that 4. What place value is it in? Yep, Kale?
it's in the tenths.
It's in the tenths column. We got 4 of them, so it's 4/10. And you know 4/10 is equal to 40%. The other way you could do it is literally just times it by 100, do it in your head, or chuck it into your calculator. 0.4 times 100. 40%, right? Okay. The nice thing about percentages is that we're timesing by 100 here. So even if you have something really ugly like 0.4936 as your decimal, you can easily convert that into a percentage by timesing it by 100. And you might remember this trick. What's the easy way that we just go about timesing things by 100? Yeah, if you start with whole numbers, you literally just add on 2 more zeros. If you've got a decimal number like this, you move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So what you end up with for this one is
39%.
beautiful, 49.36%. Okie dokie. All right. So we're going to talk about percentage of a quantity. If we have a question that says something like 45, where's my percent there? 45% of 67. Not very nice numbers, but we're going to work it out anyway. 45% of 67, we have to calculate what that is. It might be $67, it might be 67 boxes of stuff, doesn't matter. What you need to work out is that 45% is 45 over 100. So you just write that down. Straight away convert the percentage into a fraction out of 100. What do we do with this word of? We actually convert it into one of the mathematical operations. Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Which one is it?
Divide.
Close. It's multiply. So of becomes a time sign. And 67 at this stage is a whole number, so we just write 67 there like that. If you can simplify it. Now, there's a couple of things we could do to simplify this. Like, for example, 45 over 100, that could be simplified. But with an awkward number like 67, we're probably going to have to use our calculator anyway. So what I would suggest you do is pick up your calculator, do 45 divided by 100 times by 67. What do we get?
445.
Sounds like too much.
I got 148.
Too much.
I got 30.15.
Divided by 100.
See, we know that 45% is a little bit less than half. So we expect our answer to be a little bit less than half of 67. 30.15, Angus?
Yep.
Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Yeah, 30.15, that's what I get. Cool. All right, sometimes we can do it without a calculator. So if you were asked to find, say, 30% of, let's go for $60. 30% of $60. Same thing, we go 30 over 100. That's what 30% means. The of becomes a time sign, and 60 goes up here. Now, this is a question that you could actually be asked to do without a calculator. If you're doing it with a calculator, it'd be pretty straightforward, but let's imagine we don't have a calculator for a minute. What can we do to make the question a little bit easier?
Take the zeros off.
Yeah, good. We've got a 30 and a 100 here. They've each got a 0 on them. Let's cross one of those zeros off and one of those zeros off. That's completely cool. Is there anything else you can do while you're just looking at that? Alex?
Take the 60 0 and the 10 0.
Yeah, we're allowed to do that because the 0 with the 60 is one of the numerators, and the 0 with that 10 is one of the denominators. It doesn't matter that they're not one on top of the other. The fact is one is at the top and one is at the bottom. So what have we actually got left here?
18.
3 times by 6 is 18, and the denominator is just a 1, so that means it's a whole number. 3 times 6, $18. So our answer is $18. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to talk about increasing and decreasing by a percentage. So what if we had a question that said, increase $60 by 30%. Oopsie, wrong symbol there. Increase $60 by 30%. So we're talking about making $60 more than $60. There's two things we can do here. We can work out, firstly, we should probably work out how much 30% of $60 is. No way to tick. We just did that.
Yeah, so it's $78.
We'll pretend, just for a tick, we'll pretend that we haven't already done that. We'll go 30 over 100 times by 60, and we did a bit of cancelling there and there, cancel there and there, and what we've got is $18. Now, if we're increasing, we haven't really answered the question yet, have we?
No,
Yeah, and then you plus that to 60.
original.
Yeah, that's right. So we take our original $60, we add on the 18, which we've just calculated, and we find that if we increase $60 by 30%, we get $78. Is that the most straightforward way to do that?
Yeah.
It is pretty straightforward, right? The one catch with it is that it requires that we do two little calculations. We do the calculation to find 30%, and then we do a second calculation to add it on. I want to show you an alternative which you may or may not have seen before. If I start with $60, that's my 100%, isn't it? That's the whole amount that I've started off with. If I add 30% to it, what percentage have I got now? Yeah, it's 130%. So an alternative is to say, I just want to find what is 130% of $60. Same deal, we can do a bit of cancelling. That one and that one can cancel each other out. That one and that one can cancel each other out. So what I've got there is 13 times 6. You might be able to do that in your head. Probably can, because it's a little bit further in your 6 times tables. What's 13 times 6?
78.
78. In this case, it's $78. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
That's easy, right? Which way is easier?
The top
The
one.
top one.
You think the top one is easier? Look, the thing is, this is personal preference. If you like doing it the first way, that's cool. If you like doing it the second way, that's cool. As long as you're showing you're working out and we know what's going on, everything is awesome. All right, let's try a quick decrease one, and then we'll call it a day on the notes side of things. So, question might look like decrease or discount or reduce, some word like that that shows that something is getting smaller. Decrease, where's my dollar sign? $90 by, let's say, 25%. Okay. Again, I'm going to do this two ways just to show you the difference. So if I'm going to do it just like I did the first time, we have to find 25%, don't we? 25 over 100 times by 90. Can I do any simplifying there?
3.8.
Yeah, that 0 and that 0 maybe. Could probably go a bit further, because 25 and 10, we could divide them by 5. But you know what? We're probably going to use a calculator for this anyway. What does that work out to? 25 times 9 divided by 10.
22.8.
Good, 22.5. Just one thing, because we're talking about money here. Oh, running out of room. Let me just neaten that up a bit. It's dollars, so 22.5. We need to do it as 2 decimal places. That's a really bad 0, but that does in fact say $22.50. All right, we're decreasing $90 by $22.50. So what's the next step?
Say 90.
Just say Calvin 2 cents.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers. 90 subtract 22.50 equals.
So
67.5, that's right. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. All right, 67.50. Easy? Nice. All right, and just for the lols, we'll try doing it the second way as well. So if $90, if that's the 100% of the cost, and we take 25% of the cost off, how much of the cost do we still actually have to pay for? Start with 100%, take away 25%, how many percent is left over? 75%, right? So we can say, we're just going to calculate what 75% of 90 is. Because that's the only bit that we need to pay for. 25% of the cost has been taken off for us. Again, I can do some cancelling here, but I'll probably end up putting it in my calculator to be sure anyway. You'll never guess what answer is going to come out.
It's going to be 27.5.
Not 27, 67, that's right. All right, and remember, your calculator might tell you 67.5, but because it's money, we're going to do 2 decimal places so we can show dollars and cents. All G?
Yes, sir.
And then that would mean if you were calculating 75% off, we've already got there as 22.5.
Yeah, yep, exactly. All right, I'm going to stop this one here.